There is no end to those telling people marriage is dead. The MGTOW manosphere movement is replete with folks saying people shouldn't get married. One of the most popular manosphere personalities, Rollo Tomassi, told men to get vasectomies. The prevailing sentiment is marriage is for suckers, and men should steer clear of it. Is such advice rational? What would happen if everyone took this advice? Can the human race thrive when no one wants to start families and all of our dealings with the opposite sex are just hookups? Marriage is what it's always been. It hasn't changed at all. A man and a woman get together with the purpose of family and life partnership, to raise productive members of society in order to benefit themselves and those around them. Most people are opting out of pursuing this institution because they feel it's just not workable. The truth is, people aren't workable. Men and women simply don't have the emotional, social, and economical maturity to ever make marriage work. Feminism has made women completely inoperable for anything other than sex. A man who has built himself and made the sacrifices to become a high-value man, as they say, isn't going to tolerate a woman who won't cooperate. The boss bitch era of female will only attract men who are deficient and have no other option than to deal with them. Problem is, this woman will not respect this male and will break bad on this male sooner rather than later. Such a relationship dynamic is unsustainable regardless of how women feel about their boss status. These boss bitches usually grow to be old, bitter females who will have plenty of sex partners, but never a life partner. They'll get plenty of males they don't want, and none of what they do. They will be used and lonely until they die. A woman of great desirability, a dime as they call it, is not going to deal with a male who doesn't have himself together in his ability to command respect and be a leader. A woman desires a man she can follow. If a woman's affinity for you only goes as far as liking you, the relationship is doomed. Hypergamy will kick in and the monkey branching will begin. We have to stop fighting against nature. Men lead, women follow. This is the only dynamic for a marriage relationship to work. Numbers don't lie. The feminist role reversal agenda has been hard and heavy for the last 20 years. It has failed. Divorce is at an all-time high and marriage is at an all-time low, while women are dealing with depression more than ever before. If the roles of men and women in relationships were interchangeable, then we would see this in the numbers. We would see thriving families as the prevailing model of society. We instead see the opposite. A nation of single parents, thotties, and F-boys. While nothing is absolute and people can find examples of working marriages, these are merely exceptions. If it worked, they wouldn't be just exceptions. They'd be the norm. Since men are the natural leaders, they are responsible for righting the ship, and since women are the natural followers, they will fall in line once the men get their things together. Some will argue women shouldn't need men to get straight for them to get straight. They should do that on their own. We've seen the results of women going their own way, so to speak. This is what feminism is, and to say it has been a complete dumpster fire would be kind. Still, this is the result of women with no leader. I can't be angry at them because they don't have the capacity for self-governance. I won't get angry if my 3-year-old crashed my car. I'd be more angry at the person who put this child behind the wheel in the first place. Some will argue this removes accountability from women. If you leave an untrained dog in a yard with no restraints, and you come home to find this dog was wreaking havoc in the neighborhood, who is really to blame? The dog or the owner of the dog? The obvious assertion follows. Are you really comparing a woman to a dog? I most certainly am not telling anyone to put a woman in a cage, on a leash, feed her out of a dish, or tell her she needs to sleep outside, or stay off the couch, or don't jump in the bed. She's obviously a human being. What I am saying is, like a dog or a child, a woman needs to be under proper training, supervision, and guidance to become an asset to the person over them. An untrained dog, an unsupervised child, and an untrained woman are going to do the same thing and wreaking havoc in their own ways. Many know the example in the Bible of Adam and Eve. Eve, left to her own devices by Adam, was confronted by the serpent and was convinced to disobey a direct order from God to not eat from the forbidden tree. Adam, after seeing she ate from this tree, did not rebuke her for breaking the rules. He caved into her whims and ate some of the forbidden fruit Eve gave to him. There are some very significant points in this story. 1. Satan did not try to tempt Adam. He went after Eve, as he knew she would be more susceptible to his scheme, and he also knew Adam's weakness to cave to a woman's desires, which he did. 2nd, when God came around to find out what had been done, he didn't call out to Eve, he called out to Adam, despite being an all-knowing God who knew what had taken place. 3rd, Adam did not take responsibility, but blamed God for giving him the woman. And lastly, God punished Adam for listening to his wife. Am I saying you should never listen to a woman? No. When you know the way you should go, you're not supposed to allow a woman to steer you off course, as this shows you have no resolve in your convictions, and it's a sign of weakness. This is the natural order of things. The leader is responsible for what he has leadership over. If you attempt to go against nature, nature won't start an argument with you. It will simply run you over in its path. Men capitulating to women is a destructive practice with dire consequences for society. Men must take their rightful place as leaders and command the respect and admiration of those under them. Men have dropped their crown. When they finally pick it back up, the women will bend the knee.